Down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
Oh, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
Give me the gun.
Welcome back to Fact Me Up channel. In today's video, we're diving deep into the dark and twisted world of Se7en as we uncover 12 fascinating facts about this iconic thriller. From its spine-chilling plot twists to its unforgettable performances, join us on a journey through the pouring rain as we unravel the mysteries behind one of cinema's most thrilling films. Screenwriter Andrew Kevin Walker came up with the idea for the script while making ends meet at a New York City Tower record store. Walker was so depressed that he wrote a bleak and oppressive script about the hunt for a killer who uses the 7 deadly sins as inspiration for his crimes. Satisfied with the outcome, he mailed a draft of Se7en to screenwriter David Koepp and followed up with a cold call asking Koepp to forward the script to an agent if he liked it. Koepp agreed to send it to his agent, who found a buyer in New Line Cinema. After reading the script, Koepp also jokingly advised Walker that he needed professional help from a psychiatrist. During a scene in which Pitt's character Detective David Mills is chasing the killer through a perpetually rainy backdrop, Pitt slipped and drove his arm through a windshield. The resulting injury was so deep it went down to the bone and required surgery. Pitt had to wear a cast for the rest of filming, which was written into the script. Coincidentally, the original script called for Detective Mills to be injured during the sequence. The victim of Sloth, played by Michael Reed McKay, was cast after meeting the role's two main demands, having a very small frame and being able to lay down for long periods of time. At only 98 pounds, McKay underwent over 14 hours of prosthetic application to get the look the production team was after. Actor Gene Borkin, who played the victim of greed, didn't actually know what he was auditioning for. Borkin answered a casting call looking for a smarmy lawyer type. It wasn't until he arrived on set that he realized he was going to spend his time naked, covered in blood, and acting like a corpse. After realizing that, Borkin immediately negotiated a better deal on the spot, asking for 5 times the Screen Actors Guild day scale fee of $522, as well as a pair of underwear. On the day of the shooting, he was covered in over 2 gallons of fake blood, and the blood was so thick and sticky that his knees became stuck to the floor. So it was good that he managed to negotiate a better deal. The production team went the extra mile in creating John Doe's apartment. Those notebooks that provide the detectives with so much insight are actually full of writing that the team has written for the film.
There are 2,000 notebooks on these shelves, and each notebook contains about 250 pages.
The handwritten books took over 2 months for the production team to finish and reportedly added over $15,000 to the film's production. Interestingly, 2 months is about the time it would take the police to read all the books.
If we had 50 men reading in 24-hour shifts, it'd still take 2 months.
I know.
David Fincher didn't have the easiest start in Hollywood. Some of Fincher's most notable troubles came with the making of Alien 3. Fincher's time on set was so miserable that he has since disowned the film. Following the third Alien film's completion, the young director was not keen on picking up another movie anytime soon. Despite this, Fincher was sent a copy of Andrew Kevin Walker's screenplay and found the story captivating enough to give directing another chance. He chose Se7en because of its unconventional approach to the genre, particularly the finale, which featured Brad Pitt's detective character finding that the killer John Doe had beheaded his wife and stuffed her cranium into a box.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Producers wanted the ending changed so that the wife lived, but when Fincher expressed interest in the film, he was accidentally sent Walker's earlier, more intense climax. Fincher told the studio that was the draft he intended to shoot. They agreed, although producer Arnold Kopelson continued to argue against it throughout filming.
Big surprise.
In the case of Se7en, the reveal of John Doe is one of its most iconic moments. The film's cast and crew were certainly aware of this, as they made one very unconventional step towards keeping Doe's identity a secret in the time leading up to the premiere. If you look at the opening credits, you'll notice Kevin Spacey is completely left out. While studios no doubt hated the idea of keeping one of the movie's stars a secret, those more closely involved with the film knew it was for the good of the story. Spacey and director David Fincher especially felt that knowing about his involvement would take viewers out of the experience of catching Doe alongside Mills and Somerset.
The fucking gun was in my throat! Fuck!
As preparation for his traumatic scene in the interrogation room, Leland Orser would breathe in and out rapidly so that his body would be overly saturated with oxygen, giving him the ability to hyperventilate. He also did not sleep for a few days in order to achieve his character's disoriented look. David Fincher originally intended to open the film with scenes of Detective Somerset visiting a home in the country and taking the train back. But when Fincher had to screen a rough cut for studio executives, he needed some filler. That's when he called Kyle Cooper, a Yale graduate who created a kinetic opening montage of John Doe's journals set to a 9 Inch Nails song. The New York Times hailed Cooper's work as a step forward in filmmaking. The designer would go on to high-profile projects including the Spider-Man series and Dawn of the Dead. His work was so compelling, director Zack Snyder once said that some directors refuse to use him because he makes title sequences better than the movie. Despite the closed nature of the films ending with Pitt's character either headed for prison or a mental institution, New Line Cinema wanted to build on what they thought could become a franchise. The studio took a spec script titled Solace about a psychic investigating a serial killer and had it retrofitted for Freeman's Detective Somerset. The project never moved forward with Freeman, but Solace was eventually released with former Hannibal Lecter Anthony Hopkins and Colin Farrell in 2016. Denzel Washington was offered the role of Detective Mills, but turned it down, telling Entertainment Weekly that the film was too dark and evil. Washington later regretted his decision upon seeing a screening. When Mills and Somerset go to Wild Bill's leather store looking for information about John Doe, the clerk says that Doe had a limp.
Yeah, John Doe's an easy name to remember. He had a limp.
If you look closely behind them, you'll notice that outside the store, a man limping is shown watching the detectives.
What is the job you did for him?
I've got a picture of it. Hang on.